You are now a loyal follower of the Villain District Podcast.
Oh my God, his face is the best.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness.
That's
So,
okay to laugh at.
it's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
That's fine.
So this is it. This is the podcast.
Welcome. Yeah.
Welcome to the Villain District Podcast.
That's right.
I am your host, your number one, your number one person to
really?
to listen
Is that
to.
right?
Joe Stockton.
I just learned that, and we didn't talk about that.
No, there was a time
No.
where life
You were
in
the
the van
LSer.
was just the Joe Show.
Joe show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is me learning how to podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I don't know what you say
Mhm.
when you podcast.
We can take a vote right now.
Yeah.
So we're sitting here in a room. We're at Butchertown Pub Studios in Butchertown, which is a little section of Louisville, Kentucky. I'm sitting
right.
here with my friends Will Simpson and
Hello
Chris Duke.
Hey.
And yeah, we've decided that we want to try the podcasting thing. I think I know Will and I are podcast junkies.
Oh yeah.
I think Chris may dabble. You dabble a little?
I dabble. Yeah.
Dabbles.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you have anything to add to that? Podcast junkies?
Well, I mean, I'm thinking. No, I am a podcast junkie. I jog now and then, and I'll listen to a podcast.
What's
when I'm doing
funny
that.
is, like, I've got a big list of subscriptions on my phone,
Yeah.
and Will text me and say, "Hey, did you listen to these 3 podcasts that just came out 10 minutes ago?"
That's true. Yeah.
I don't know how you like. I've got
I find time,
I've got
yeah.
I've got like a full list of kinetic or potential energy that I'm just waiting to change over into
Yeah.
kinetic energy.
Yeah.
That was the science portion
See-
of the podcast.
See, no, I have 30 subscriptions to podcasts, and I've been waiting for about 5 days for a new one. I did just listen to no I got a new one yesterday, and I listened to it this morning while I was showering. I
That's
put it
not
on real loud.
Do you have like a speaker system?
Yeah, I have a little speaker thing.
That's smart, dude. That's what I
Yeah.
need to do. I don't shower, but
Yeah, but you should start.
like I could use my
So-
shower time
Yeah,
to just listen to podcasts
that's
normally.
true. Yeah, that
So-
way you'll smell, but people will be like, "Did you hear Mark Maron?" And you'll be like, "Yeah."
Exactly.
Actually, I'm smell blind,
Okay.
so
No, for me, it's like I tend to seek out maybe specific material or a specific speaker or whomever. As far as the subscription thing, I'm not on that boat yet, but that's probably the way just to keep material coming at you.
you'll
sure.
Just to,
you'll get there.
Yeah.
You'll get there.
Yeah, sure.
It's fine.
And it's also like it's a weird line too, right? Because I'll listen to a lot of like is a TED Talk? Is that a podcast?
Right.
I
I-
think so.
It
I
comes
think
out in
so.
podcast
Yeah.
form.
Right. I mean, I don't think it has to be a specific, like, we are talking specifically to podcast listeners
Yeah.
to be a podcast. I
Yeah,
mean,
sure.
You can just
Sure.
broadcast something. But I think, the original idea was...
For this podcast.
For this podcast, I mean, Will and I were talking, like, we've always kind of wanted to try a podcast, but we weren't exactly sure if we wanted to make it like a very specific topic kind of podcast. What are we qualified to talk about? And then I had the thought, like, well, we have this band that we're playing in,
Mhm.
and although that's just a small kind of piece of the pie of our interests, like, why not use that as a header for a podcast as well as the band?
Yeah, it was,
yeah,
it was hard enough to come up with one name for a creative endeavor.
Right.
Yeah.
why would we go through that process again?
That's a terrible process.
That's not a fun process.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
for those of you who don't know, the Villain District, or Villain District, I guess is what we settled on.
Yeah,
Because Foo Fighters, and
that's right.
you got the Beatles or you got
Yeah.
Foo Fighters. Like,
We're
I
not
don't know.
We're not in the late '60s or
Right.
early 2000s, so
Right.
the is kind of
Exactly.
No, I'm just kidding.
That was a good one.
Right? Yeah.
But as much anxiety as I guess the three of us have had, especially Chris and I, we pursued a specific band, actually, which Will started, which is kind of
You're
funny.
welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
Ruined
But
our lives.
We
That's okay.
we pursued it for so long. At one point, we were about to sign to a label, but that label was forcing us to change our name due to legal reasons, trademark reasons, and we probably spent the better part of a year trying to think of, okay, well, we were in Nineball, which was our band, our baby band for a long time, and that name came out of Will's butt at some point.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally.
So yeah. So let's go back in time together
Yep.
and go on a go on a short, abridged journey of our arc from amateur musicians to podcast superstars.
That's right.
Right.
Also, we got coffee about 20 minutes ago. I just took my first sip.
Really?
Perfect temperature.
Oh, come on. Mine's getting cold.
You're tough.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's right.
Yeah, I guess it all started in the 5th grade. I met Will through a mutual friend, James Bell, who is now a hilarious human being.
Yeah.
And
And master electrician.
a master electrician.
That's right.
We'd love to have him on here just so you guys could you could be tickled as much as we've been tickled over the years. But he introduced Will and I, and we both he kind of introduced me to some new bands and stuff like MXPX and Green Day and stuff like that. And he was playing in a punk rock band in like early high school, late middle school, something like that, called Push 900. And
That's
I'm
right.
like, dude, that's cool.
right.
All I know how to play is the alto saxophone, but since, and I don't know, I kind of felt like you started that band behind my back a little bit.
Yeah, that was yeah.
So he's like, yeah, we started this band. I'm like, dude, why don't I know? Like, I hang out with you
Yeah,
all the time,
that
and
is
you're in
true.
a band now with
That
an
is true.
album.
Yeah.
They had a 2-song album.
Well, yeah, it's just Yep.
And
Yep.
so essentially I was like, well, can I like be the manager of your band?
Oh no.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
That was the number one 2-song album out of Monticello, Kentucky that whole year, I think.
Yeah.
So it was a big deal. Yeah.
Well, here's the main reason I felt completely backstabbed.
yeah.
Because before that, like way
Let's get it
before
out
that,
there.
we started that band called Fence.
That's true, yeah.
And you
Yeah.
sang, well, you played the guitar basically.
Yeah.
I
was
played the
afraid
drums.
to sing. Yeah.
And it was terrible. We had our big hit single was called Beautiful Day.
That's right. It was great.
We don't have to get into that.
No,
but
we don't.
The next thing I know, you're in a new band, and I'm not involved.
The next thing you know, like 3 years later.
Yeah.
I feel like Will must have gotten his feelings hurt at some point,
Yeah?
and he didn't tell you about it. That's
Maybe.
probably why.
Oh man.
You
I
think?
wish
Do
no.
you remember anything about that?
No. I
It
wish that was
happened,
true.
I'm sure.
Did it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I made the booklet for the CD.
He did, yeah. I
I
didn't
just-
leave you out. See?
Yeah.
See?
I designed it. I printed it. I printed it on the family PC
That's
in
right.
the living room,
That's right.
and I took one of my Ace of Base CD and took all the booklet stuff out and made my own booklet for it.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I made your all's first CD.
We at Push 900 really appreciated that.
But then I was like, hey, what if like you taught me to play the guitar?
Mhm.
So he taught me to play the bass. I picked it up really quickly.
Yeah.
I think the first song I learned was Green Day. What's that?
Longview.
Longview. I
Longview.
learned Longview.
That's a great song. Yeah.
And essentially, we started our own band again and kicked the other dudes out.
That's right. That's right.
And we were like, what should we call it?
Mhm.
I don't know. Push 900 was cool, but we can't use it because you didn't come up with it. Because
'Cause,
Adam
yeah.
came up with it on
That's
the
right.
toilet.
That's right. Adam Hopper
Mm-hmm.
came up with it on
Push
the toilet.
900. Yeah, he's like, it just. I don't know if it was real or a joke.
Something about it just sounds right now. Yeah.
But so we were like, we're gonna do 9-ball because that's a thing that exists.
Yeah.
And it's a number band.
Yeah.
And those were really hot at the
Those
time.
were cool.
But
Those were
normally
really
the
cool.
number came at the end of the name.
Yeah.
This one was at the beginning.
Yeah.
And you could spell it out or we ended up spelling it out later. All that to say, we came up with that name. That band lasted another 10 years or something.
Golly.
Whoops.
We right when we really started to take it serious, we did our first national tour, which started up in Michigan in a blizzard and ended somewhere in the Midwest. I think.
Yeah.
I can't. Who knows?
No.
Colorado?
No.
Somewhere?
And after that
don't
tour,
I don't know.
Will left the band.
Yeah. Quit.
He never said why.
I don't know.
We're-
I don't want to. I don't know.
He didn't
That I
have
want to
enough
talk about
time
it.
to-
Our hearts are still out in the Midwest somewhere, waiting for him to reunite with us.
Yeah, that's right.
Said something about like books to read.
No, I don't remember that.
And
No.
but for the most part, after that, I mean, we talked, but like we weren't super close.
No,
you know
well,
what I mean?
Yeah. Well, what happened was right. For some reason, and it's hilarious now because I was like 21,
Right.
and I was like, yeah, I really need to start making money.
I've got to
and being
get
an
my
adult.
act.
Right.
I've got to get my
Yeah.
act together.
And not like making money like I really cared about money, but like I felt like I was too old to not be making more money than more. It was
21.
I know, right?
I was 20.
I could have just hung out for a solid decade and been about where I am now, money wise, right?
yeah.
But yeah, so I went back to college and finished, and I've been in college for almost 10 years. So.
Shoot.
But so Chris and I did I guess shortly before Will left the band, Chris joined the band. I think that
Yeah.
the year
Yeah.
before.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know we suckered a lot of dudes into just hopping in the van with us and putting their lives on hold, and we toured for a long time till like 2011.
Yeah, that's
So I guess we
right.
toured for probably 4 years,
Something
but the
like
band
that.
lasted for a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
And around the end of our touring days, we were in talks with a label in Nashville. And as much as we liked our A&R guy and some of the people that worked at the Nashville were the sweetest people we've encountered in the business, at the end of the day, it is a business, and they didn't necessarily want what we had to offer. I actually remember, I did a lot of the writing. We wrote together, but I did a lot of the writing, and our A&R guy came up to me once and said, I want to get you into some co-writing sessions because, like, he's like, right now all your songs are kind of like 9-ball songs. You know what I mean? And I said, I think so. Is that
I think
bad?
that makes sense.
He's like, well, I mean, I think we need some more like songs and less 9-ball songs. And I said, okay.
To this day, do you have any idea what that means?
Well, we went through some co-writes.
Yeah.
And I
we,
found out that songs aren't what I was interested
yeah,
in.
right.
Yeah.
And we tried though.
Yeah.
We tried.
We entertained a few, just because we were trying to keep an open mind.
Sure.
And so we sat down with a few writers and producers and tried to make it work. We had a lot of demo tapes from those sessions, and at the end of the day, we were like, "This is super lame. This is
Yeah.
not good."
But right before the super lame part, the label was like, it wasn't a great deal or anything. It was like an EP deal, kind of a developmental thing. And the developmental thing means let's try and make you a little bit more like we want you to be,
Right.
Yeah.
which is just the business. It's a small thing.
Just
the
what they
business
do.
is a very small thing.
Right.
So we were thinking, okay, we have to change our name to something that's very important because this is the last shot we have to change our name. This could be our career. Even though we may not love the songs we're writing, at least we'll be playing music. And after about 8 months of that, we were like, wow, like that's not what we want to do at all.
Right.
But we ended up going with the Savvy for whatever reason. It was still like a bad reason because eventually it was another trademark issue.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think for you and me both, it was a lot of the Savvy wasn't our first choice. We tried
a
several
few.
others.
I couldn't tell you what they were.
Yeah,
at
I
this point.
couldn't either. Couldn't either at this time. But it was a lot of, what do you think about this name? Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Could you imagine it on a big banner?
Right. And sometimes we could, and we were
If-
like, that's really rad. And we'd do the trademark check, and we were like, okay, never mind.
If
Yeah.
you Google
You know.
this, we'll our band, because nowadays it's not like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. Like, it's like your band name has to be odd enough
Yeah.
to where that's your brand on the internet, which
Right.
has everything
Yeah.
else.
Everything.
And the Savvy just didn't work that way.
Right.
So you
and-
can't call your band Weather Channel anymore.
Not anymore. But I lost my train of thought. No,
Sorry.
I didn't. You done that.
Sorry, but as a side note, I do think Weather Channel is a sweet band name. Just
Yeah.
It's not bad.
yeah,
it's not
right?
a bad band.
It's not
name.
bad.
So we changed our name to the Savvy. We toured like that for another year or two. We went down to Florida and we funded our own record to record with James Wisner, which was a dream of ours as
Right.
young musicians, because he produced a lot of the records that we loved growing up. A lot of the Fueled by Ramen bands, like the Academy Is debut album, he produced that album.
Yeah.
He did like the Under Oath's first kind of groundbreaking album, a few albums like that. So we were like, we got to get the money to do this, and we made the EP. And then shortly after the EP came out, and shortly after we toured a little bit, a band called Savvy
Yeah.
came out who had
Ooh.
they had the trademark. Ours was pending, but I think they beat us out.
Yeah.
And it was like a band that Lil Wayne had signed.
Yeah.
Wait, so the definite article doesn't make a difference? The Savvy
No.
doesn't make any difference?
No.
It just has to be close.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and in the same industry. So,
Oh, really?
You know,
Okay.
if there's a restaurant
Yeah.
name, that doesn't
The
really
Savvy,
matter,
yeah.
but
Okay.
it's a entertainment name. So.
Gotcha.
So after that, we were very disheartened, very tired. We had already been sleeping on floors for 4 years, and we just kind of fizzled. I mean, like it cost us like $1,500 just to go down the trademark route.
Sure, yeah.
And then at the end of the day, we couldn't even have it.
Yeah.
So we essentially stopped touring and playing. A lot of us went our own separate ways. And then Chris and I decided to move to Louisville to work in the studio, the one we're sitting in now,
Yeah.
Butchertown Pub Studios, because there was kind of some openings, and just some people we knew had this great facility, but they needed some engineers to run it. And
Yeah.
it just sounded like the perfect fit for us. And then you, Will, moved here.
Yeah.
You started pursuing a doctorate in mumbo jumbo.
In mumbo jumbo, yeah. In shenanigans, like a specialty in shenanigans, but technically it's in mumbo jumbo. So
Right.
And then we had the thought, like, well, I mean, let's just start a band.
Yeah.
Let's just like the old
Yeah.
days, just start a band for fun.
yeah.
But we said all of that to say we did not want to stress about the name.
Yeah.
So
with this
what'd-
new band.
So
Yeah.
what'd you do, Will?
Yeah. So essentially, we were all. How did we start? We started just writing stuff down, whatever, and we were
Right.
like, well, we'll try to come up with some names. And so I think probably you guys as well, we would hit up these random band name generators,
Yeah.
which is what you do if you really don't want to stress about your band name. And so I remember my dad, when I told him we were trying to come up with a name, his reaction was, call it Tree Bark and move on. And I remember that. To this day, I remember that.
Whenever I've got one
That's
good
perfect.
dad band name story.
Yeah.
Quick.
Yeah.
When we were trying to figure out the name of, I think it was Fence.
Okay.
I remember you, me, and my dad. My
Yeah.
dad worked at the hospital in Monticello in Wayne County,
Yeah.
and we were pulling out of the hospital, and he was like, "You should call your band Juxtaposed."
Oh, nice. Nice. That's got that big X in it.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and I don't think I've used that word so many times because of that. Because I'm like, all right, I got to Google that. At that time, I don't think I Googled it.
Yeah.
I maybe Alta Vista'd it
Al-
or something.
That's right. You asked Jeeves
I
about
asked
it.
Jeeves about it or something.
That's right.
So yeah, Will
Yeah.
emailed out list of maybe 8 band names.
Yeah.
And the one that stuck out to me was the Villain District. And we, my thought was, that's kind of cool. Like, me and Will read a lot of comic books, unhealthy amount of comic books. We go
too much.
We go like bi-weekly trips. And I was like, I remember thinking, this is a cool band name. It's kind of comic booky, but Chris doesn't like the comic books necessarily.
No, it's
Duke.
Hey,
So let me finish.
Okay.
So my thought was, if Chris likes this name,
Yeah.
I think we're in the clear.
That's how you know we've got
and
a
you
winner.
liked it. He liked it.
It was more. First of all, I do like the band name even now, but I was just so thankful that someone else took the responsibility of naming the band. Because I mean, obviously, we're not trying to do it as a career, so I'm not stressing over it from like a business level, like what's this going to mean for marketing and branding.
Right.
It's just like, yeah, sounds cool. I'm good with it.
It's just
you know?
the weight,
right?
taken
Exactly.
off.
Yeah. I remember the 4 of us, the 3 of us on the podcast, and then Vince, our bass player, were sitting around talking about band names, and it was down to like 2 or 3. We had 2 or 3 that we liked, and then Chris, you were like, somebody just needs to make a decision.
Yeah,
you were like, well, actually, we were just circling Villain District over and over. It was just, are we going to call it this or not?
Yeah,
was basically the question. And Chris was like, somebody just needs to say something. I was like, screw it, it's called Villain District now. And then immediately you were like, what a control freak. What a jerk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really remember that, but that sounds about right.
do.
Yeah,
It
we were
sounds
sitting
like-
in this room.
That's right.
But one of the other band names I remember that was on that, or I think it was in one of my band name generator searches. It was called Childhood Mob.
Oh, that's right.
I was actually going to mention that one.
That's
I
right.
still think that's pretty cool. There's
That is
something
cool.
cool about it.
That is cool. Yeah, I like that. So all that to say, right?
Right.
We got that name down.
Yep.
And
So
yeah,
let's think of a podcast name. I've got an idea.
yeah.
Let's not go through that process
Let's not
again.
do that again. Yeah, we have a name. Just throw
think-
that on there.
But
You're right.
at the same time, like when we are working on like musically creative endeavors with Villain District, at this point, everything we've done, it's like we've made it. We've put a lot of effort into it. We recorded it here at the studio. Some of the videos we've even shot here in the back room of the studio, but we posted online. We're very kind of vague and mysterious with our posts.
Yeah.
just for fun. We're just trying to tickle ourselves. But this is also a fun opportunity to talk more about that stuff, that part of our lives, and talk about our creative process, whether that be writing the songs or recording them. Whether I sit in the studio by myself and, set a mic up and then just sing the song on repeat 3 or 4 times and then hope that, limit myself to one of those takes is just going to be the one,
Right. Yeah, sure.
Or if it's, we're shooting the monster video and, a friend of ours came up to Will and said, that video is really cool. How many cameras did you have on it to shoot that?
Yeah.
And Will was like, we shot it with 1 camera. And he's like, whoa.
Yeah, and I think I told I said
Just took a really long time.
yeah, it took forever. But somebody I was talking to, I mentioned something like, I know because Joe did most of the editing on the video, right? And so I was like, we tried to really make it. Joe wanted to make it look like the camera was moving, even though the camera was still every time.
Right,
And
like
whoever
they're
I
all
was, and whoever I was
so-
talking to was like, the camera didn't move in any
Right.
of those, and I was like, well, he pulled it off. Then that's good.
I hadn't heard. That's awesome.
Yeah, for
'Cause
sure.
The problem with that was, I'm a videographer and Chris is starting to do some videography, and I've been working on and practicing camera movements for a few years now. But when we're all playing in there, I can't.
When you're in the video,
I can't film us. So I was like, if we have enough angles and if the edits are kinetic enough, it's going to feel like the camera's moving,
Right.
even though it's not.
Yeah, it's just trying to find a way to bring energy to the video.
And and that's just one small example of what's to come in this podcast.
That's right.
That's right.
But I do want to say, this podcast, is not all necessarily about band stuff, right? Or it doesn't
No,
have to.
Not at all.
Yeah, because that would be boring even for us after
Yeah,
a while.
right.
You know.
At one point, I want to sit down with Will and talk about Batman Endgame,
That's
which
right.
which is coming out right now
That's right.
with Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo.
It's very exciting.
and
it's
then
very exciting.
Chris.
I think I'm busy.
Chris is busy that day.
But
No,
I
you-
mean, like,
I'm
you
gonna
know,
surprise you guys.
Chris,
with,
you
like
are-
all the history of.
That's right.
but
I don't even know.
You don't even know how to make a reference.
Fake talk about it
Yeah.
right now.
No.
But I mean, Chris and I have had the conversation before that for especially those 4 years of touring, you know, our lives were very focused and focused very hard in one direction. And that's a coffee burp. But we didn't have the opportunity to really, I don't know, engage in any other interests we had because we were either always gone, or in order to make something like a band work, you just have to always be working toward that, because if you just do it halfway, there are a million at this point, a million other bands that are working a lot harder than you.
Right.
But now, like, you know, all three of us are taking classes back in school, kind of like
Doing other stuff as well, right?
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
just being able to sit down and plant roots somewhere and like, I don't know, experience the rest of life as well. But at the same time, Villain District is that thing that we can use to scratch that itch that's always going to be there. That creative itch.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I think all all of us in the band and a lot of our friends, we're all just creatives. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Mhm.
We would be making things regardless of our situation. Do you know what
Sure.
I mean? So now that we're all sort of working and going to school and doing all these sort of routine type things, we need to be creative still.
Yeah.
That doesn't go away.
It provides for good balance for me, and I'm sure
Yeah.
it does for you guys as well.
For
you
sure.
know?
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. So we can use this medium too, which is in terms of like if we're making a video or if we're coming out with a new song, I'm lucky enough, I know nothing about the technological side of things, so I don't edit any of the songs or make any of the videos. I just do the fun part, but you guys do work on that stuff, and that takes time.
But that's fun for me too.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
I know it is for Joe as
Sure.
well. But
I'll tell you the least fun one.
Yeah.
It wasn't the least fun, but it turned into something I did not think it was going to be. The video for The Older Brother.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It's a simple video, but I ended up putting so many hours into that edit because, every little movement is very, what's the word I'm looking for? Intentional. Every little thing in that video, I had to go in and place it where I wanted.
Yeah, that's not an automatized process. You do that by hand.
So,
yeah.
there are times where even though we are doing this for complete just the joy of it, it's hard to do.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
And it can be a little disheartening when you put so much heart and work and sweat into something and someone says, "Oh, that's kind of cool."
That's kind of
Yeah,
cool. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I think that's just, a product of our time, though.
Sure, yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think about it in terms of where we were before, though, in terms of like a band being your hope for a potential career, which sounds kind of outlandish to say out loud now. But whenever that's the case and someone's response is, "Oh, that's kind of cool," it's kind of crushing to your soul.
That hurts a
And-
lot more.
Yeah, and it makes you not want to play music anymore. So it's a much healthier thing to just do it because you want to do it, and shrug off if people don't care or do care, and just have fun with it. But-
Right, and you can, like what happened to us, we just got super burnt out.
Right.
Burning the candle at all 5 ends.
Yeah.
4 ends.
Four ends. Four ends on a candle.
Yeah, well, we actually, we experienced touring in the fourth dimension.
Oh,
which
I
was,
see.
That was probably the best part.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah. That is nice. Most bands don't get to go.
No.
Don't get to do
I think
that.
that's going to be the next podcast topic, the
Yeah.
fourth dimension.
Fourth dimension.
Fourth dimension.
What was that?
I don't
was
know.
that Southern Bill Nye?
It
getting his
sounds like
students-
it moves really slow.
It just came out how it came
the
out.
fourth dimension.
But we started the podcast with a little vine that I came across last
Oh,
night.
It's too good.
The kid's name is Brandon Bowen,
yeah.
and he's just this little round dude.
Yeah. It's
And
hilarious.
He just does and says the funniest things. And he's in this this video, and he's well, I'll let you hear it one more time.
Yeah. Let's do it again.
Hey, dude, watch this.
Oh, wait. Oh, come on.
Oh no.
So
Yeah.
it's loading, but it's this kid. You'd have to see him.
Hey, dude, watch this. I want to try. Hey, dude, watch this. I want to try. Hey, dude, watch this.
That's
All I'm gonna say is,
That's
if
great.
you haven't seen that Vine, go find it.
Yeah,
You'll
go find
understand
it.
why it
what's,
tickles us. So
What's his
much.
name again?
Brandon Bowen.
And what's
Yeah.
the date on that Vine? You know.
November 23rd, 2014.
Yeah, go look at that because
Check it out.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. And also, if you haven't, if you stumbled across this somewhere other than the Villain District band page, then go listen to Villain District too. Because
Mhm.
what are you doing with your life
Right.
if you're not doing that? Come
Yeah,
on.
I think
Of course.
we've released three tracks.
Yep.
We have
Yeah.
another one coming out shortly. And I think what we're gonna do, we're gonna do a lot of podcast exclusive stuff. So like, we'll put a new track on the podcast maybe a couple weeks before the release if anyone's interested in that.
Yeah.
We may do some exclusive, like, I think probably 5 or 6 years ago, Will and I recorded an EP and we called it The Atlantic.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe put some of that, we never released it, so maybe put some of that at the end of one of the podcasts or something like that.
Sure. Yeah.
But I think the plan is we're gonna do these, we're gonna try to shoot for one or so a week, unless we just get too busy. But that's kind of the joy of it, is that
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're sitting here talking, doing a podcast because it's fun.
Yeah.
Right,
It's a
of
good time.
course.
Absolutely. So wait, I think it's probably time for a little advertisement, right?
Yeah.
Gotta pay some bills.
That's right.
Talk about the sponsor a little bit,
Sure.
maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
This podcast is brought to you by Butchertown Pub Studios, where you can sound like the pros. Come on down. I didn't write that. I just made that up.
That's pretty amazing.
Studios, pros, the
Yeah.
rhyme.
Yeah, that was
Man.
good. I liked it.
No, but Chris and I work at the studio. If you're in a band and you want to come and record, come here. If you want to record your own podcast,
That's right.
come here. This is the best place there is to go.
It's a great. I don't work here, and so as an unbiased observer, it's a fantastic space for creative endeavors. It's a very inspiring and pretty space. It's
Right.
very, very conducive to
Sure.
creative thought,
Yeah.
things like that. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
great.
I mean, the studio's paying a lot for this episode, so
Yeah,
Right.
that's right.
it's very expensive.
It is. Yeah.
It's very expensive.
sure.
It sounds expensive.
It
Do
does.
you think this episode, what would you say it costs? Like several?
Yeah.
At least several.
Maybe.
But the thing is, you'd be surprised with the deals that you can get at Butchertown Pub Studios.
Yeah.
You'd be-
Sometimes you get 2 for 1.
That's right.
Sometimes you buy one, get one half
Sometimes.
price. That
Yeah,
kind
exactly.
Of stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It sounds more expensive than it is.
That's right.
That's the beauty.
Well, was there anything else we wanted to cover in this this first episode? I think. Obviously, we want to talk to some more creatives around town, or not even just around Louisville, but we want to bring people on to, either promote their stuff or to just talk about their creative experiences, whether that be photographers or painters or musicians or
Yeah, for sure.
whoever that may be.
Right.
Just be a lot of fun to just talk.
Yeah, we know a lot of really
record
cool.
it while we do.
We have access to a lot of really cool creative people who are doing a lot of really cool things.
Yeah.
That I think will be very interesting and to talk about and fun to
Yeah.
listen to.
And I feel better about that because, like, I enjoy, hearing the stories of other people
Yeah.
and getting to kind of help share that with other people as well.
Yeah,
But yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, because Chris doesn't have anything else to talk about.
Well, we could talk about me. And that's the next section. It's just
Episode
me.
2.
Episode
This is
2.
Chris.
El Duque.
I try to keep kind of a mysterious kind of
Yeah.
shadow over my.
Yeah. Is that why you wear that mask all the time?
It is.
Okay.
You can't
Yeah.
see it, but it's
Yeah.
it's there
Yeah.
for sure.
It's green.
Yeah, it is.
He's
for
wearing
sure.
a green mask.
I'm not wearing a mask, but
See, he can't even stand for me to
That's
let
right.
people know.
That's right. Yeah. Unveil the mystery.
that's right.
Well, are we? Is that good for a first episode? And does that work for you guys?
I like it.
Wonderful.
I think so.
Cool. Hey, thanks for listening to the Villain District podcast, episode number 1,
Volume 1?
volume 1.
Is that like a comic book thing?
Yes.
Volume 1?
Good job.
Mm-hmm.
Join us next time for Chris Duke's comic book picks.
That's right.
You done good,
I'll tell
guys.
you now, it's Archie. That's
You
it.
done good, Joe.
You done good, Will.
Wait, what? I just thought you guys. We'll see ya.
See ya, Chris.
See ya.